Welcome. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for another week at the Street Forum. It's your girl, Marjorie, and I'm here with my girl, Jess.
Hey everyone.
We're here to talk about this. This is a new month, so we're going to be talking about a whole new topic, which is our kids. Kids that's not yours, kids that are yours, kids that you might think are yours, or kids that you want to be yours, right? They are all important to us, no matter which way or form it is that they come to us, right? So I think it's a very important subject, and I'm going to let Jessica introduce herself a little bit more. You guys might remember her. She was one of the contestants on the Street Feud, which was definitely exciting.
Definitely was. I had a great time. Thank you for having me back again.
Yes, I'm really happy that I encouraged her to want to come back and speak a little bit more.
So you ready?
Yes.
So my name is Jessica. Marjorie asked me to come and speak to everybody. Actually, as you can see, I have a hospital bracelet on. My son is currently in the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, or known as CHOP. My son had 2 heart surgeries in the past 2 years. He's currently in heart failure right now. So we're trying to figure out what's going on. She actually caught me as I was driving home to Philly because I have a 15-year-old daughter who, well, she'll be 15 in December, who, has to go to school. So,
Has a life too, right?
exactly. And she just had her dinner dance Friday. So, I had to get her all prettied up and, do mommy things. Her dad was a little upset he didn't get to see her, but, we have to do sacrifices for our children.
Yes.
Jeremiah's in the hospital. He's going to be 9 years old. We call him JJ, and we actually call him superhero because a superhero to me is somebody that has to go through a tough battle that not everybody goes through. Mm-hmm. So that's why I call him a superhero. He has a pacemaker, so I also call him Bionic. I don't know if you ever heard the show Lab Rats. So that's how I kind of helped him with the surgery, try not to be so scary. I try to explain to him that, not everybody's going through what he goes through, and not every child that has a heart defect has the same heart defect, and they can have the same heart defect but not have the same issues and the same symptoms, which is very rare. And heart defects are very, very common, more common than children cancer, more common than autism. And it's less fun than mostly all of them too, which is crazy because you would think you need your heart to live.
Yeah.
So you would think that's kind of more important.
Up on the scale.
Exactly.
Things that we have to make sure aren't happening in our community.
Exactly. I don't know if it's like the water or what. There's a lot of kids coming up now with heart defects, and they say it's like the food we eat. It's not like how it was back in the day.
Yeah, it's definitely, that's,
part of it.
Honestly, that's one of the things that got me to this point in life is my kids.
Definitely.
I think I severely did not pay attention to my life, and I was just going with the Joneses. I was doing everything that everybody told me that was best to do, and just follow this and you'll be okay. And, as I started keeping having my children, and, a lot of them were coming out with these abnormal kind of conditions, like my oldest, he's holding the light right now, so just let you know he is here, he's watching, but I speak to them all the time. I try to talk to them about their experiences in life because
Definitely.
these things are happening so young to our children.
It is. It's sad.
That for them it's like a daily thing for them. They think it's like normal
if you
to be
see
abnormal.
my son, he always has a smile on his face. And here I'm like, hoo, 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 crying.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mom, it's okay. I'll be all right.
Yeah, because they're dealing with this 24/7.
I know.
We're not even, we have our kids from day one, but we're still not dealing with it the way that they have to deal
exactly.
with it.
That, and that's like I said before with the superhero comment. I try to figure out how I can bring it to him when I first had to tell him about his first heart surgery that he was going to have. I didn't want to scare him. I didn't want him to be afraid. So I figured, we love Marvel in my house. My dog is named Rhodey after Agent Rhodey from Iron Man. So, we love Marvel in my house. So I figured, let's do something that we all love. And we made it a big thing about superheroes. So, that's superhero JJ, that's what we call them.
Encouragement, that positive outlook, that's
And you know what? And
needed.
exactly. And it's hard. It's really hard. But you have to kind of put yourself in their shoes for a minute and figure out how would you take it. So, and he loved lab rats. So then but when they told us he needed a pacemaker, I was like, bionic, because it's like a machine. So that's why I told him, now you're bionic on top of being a superhero. Like, you're like double agent over here.
Yeah, it's kind of like showing them that live action.
Yeah, and I think he kind of appreciated it. Like, he's going to be 9 next month, so I know he understands that he's really not a superhero, but I think he appreciated that, I put that effort into it.
Yeah, because he can comprehend. He's
exactly.
Like, he gets that connection that, the stuff that we see on TV is a little bit more outside the boundary of everyday life.
Yeah.
But we can learn how to view it on a scale that's
definitely
actuality for us.
Yeah, because everybody's going through different things.
Yeah. When my son, one of the things that we realized when he was growing up, he always took maybe 30 seconds to say hello to you. Okay. So you come up to me and I'm just seeing you for the day and you're like, oh my God, I haven't seen you for so long. My son will look at you like,
and they get all excited, right?
Oh my God, yes! He would have to look and think about it. He's laughing. And he would have to think about it. And, those were signs that you would think that for a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old, you're like, oh, maybe they're just really thinking about it. But no, he had to really look at you.
He was giving him a hard time.
And figure out who it was because he had this block in his eyes. And
it's sad because they can't really tell you what's wrong with them.
And kids, you're not going at 2 or 3 years old to the eye doctor.
Definitely not.
You're not going to the eye doctor. So
they don't go to the eye doctors really until they start going to school because that's when they notice that they can't see.
Exactly. So when I took him to the pediatric and they made me go to the specialist was like, I'm shocked. Wow. He's like, I'm shocked that he can see the way that he can.
I'm learning this for the first time too, everybody. So
cataracts. I found out my son had cataracts in both of his eyes.
Oh man,
it was about 70%.
But you can see now, fine. No,
he still cannot tell us because he's never had normal sight.
Yeah.
So how do you ask him? Does that look normal to you? Because for him, that's normal.
And for us, it might be horrible.
Exactly. So he got the surgery. He has the lenses in his eyes. You can kind of see the glare.
Okay.
When you speak to him
but
in the light.
But he feels better, right? You see better now. So I mean, as long as it works.
He does complain about the sunlight, that it gets too bright for him.
Buy him some Gucci glasses. He'll be all right.
Right? Somebody better staple them to his head.
Yeah, you can't lose those if you don't pay real good money for that.
I know, exactly. But it's, it's like trials and tribulations that we go through.
Yeah, definitely. Like with JJ right now, we went to his heart doctor on Tuesday for a normal checkup every 3 months after his surgery. He was fine 3 months ago. Had all the echoes. Everything was great. We go in all happy because we were talking to the doctor. She was actually going to let him go back to gym. And he loves kickball. That's his, go-to. And she was actually going to let him play it.
I can't wait for that doctor's clearance.
But he was so excited. She's like, okay, let me just do the echo. So now when we go in for the echo, we usually watch a movie. Usually it's How to Train a Dragon. That's me and JJ's favorite movie because we love Toothless. I love dragons. So, Game of Thrones, I'm a big fan.
How to Train Your Dragon.
That's one of my favorite movies.
It's
my car is named after it because when it's in you can see its headlights, it looks like Toothless in his eyes. But so we go, we're watching actually Scooby-Doo.
So it's a long procedure then.
An echo, yeah. Usually we watch about a half hour of the movie, 45 minutes.
Oh, this is the one where they're putting it on
it's like
body,
an ultrasound.
Right?
They do an ultrasound. He lays there and they do the ultrasound of the heart and all through the
plugs, right? There's 16
and then they
plugs
have
everywhere.
EKG machine and they have the leads. That's what the plugs are called, the leads. So we're sitting there, me and my husband look at each other, and all of a sudden, we're like, wow, we're watching practically the whole movie. Something's going on. But now we have a new ultrasound person, so we're thinking that she's new. So we're not saying nothing. Then all of a sudden, the doctor calls us in, and she's like, listen, she hands me a box of tissues because I'm a huge crier.
Oh, my gosh.
Huge. So she hands me a box of tissues. She's like, Jess, I'm sorry, but, his left ventricle is a lot smaller than what it was before. So I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, well, now he has pacers, so he can't do MRIs. I said, okay. She goes, you have to do a catheterization. We got to do an emergency one. So right now I'm in between two jobs. So I'm like, damn, thinking about work. Damn, thinking about JJ. Like, what am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I tell my job that, listen, I have to have this day off. I have to do this, that, and third. Whatever. They're okay with it. They're not only leaving, but they're okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get there. They blindside us and tell us that he's not having this test, that we're going to keep him, do this medication.
Oh, my God.
So now the doctor's talking to me. Like I said, I was gone for Thursday night, Friday night, because my daughter, so I went back Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally talked to the doctor this morning, she was asking me, like, did you see signs? I'm like, well, when JJ came home from school, my husband always told me that he would take a nap, that he would get tired. I just thought, from being in school,
the surgery, and
just because he's not used to being a kid, that it was okay. But no, really, it was part of his heart failure. Wow. And I didn't even realize it. Me being a heart mom, JJ's been with his heart defect since birth, so I should have caught that. And I didn't.
But do you think
that I also really, work during the day, so I didn't know. I wasn't home. Yeah. But, like, we
blame
it off.
Do they really prepare you, though? Like, do they really give you, like, a checklist?
No, they don't.
And, like, a checklist to give to the school? Because I think that the nurse should have a checklist.
The nurse does have, like, the nurse in Nathan Hill School, Mrs. Oaks, you're awesome. Mm-hmm. She's great. She texts me and calls me all the time.
Okay.
So, they have it in place. There's I forgot what the name of the form is called, but we did have to get doctor's notes, and yes.
But those are like the general, like, heart conditions to pay attention to. It wasn't like a specific. Maybe that's something that they could give for the next time when they let him go home, like a more general specific signs, like, or just even the stuff that you spoke about, like, just make sure you go over it again.
Yeah.
And when he goes home, like, okay, maybe if he's a little bit more fatigued, let's just jot that down.
Yeah, definitely.
You see another
we know
thing,
the signs.
we jot that down, right? So we have to learn how to pay attention to what our kids are doing and
continue having a life on top of it, because working and cooking and cleaning, you're not really paying attention to what your kids are doing 24/7.
Because that's the same mistake you made. It was the same mistake I made, because when I was growing up, my son was growing up, and when I was growing up, they always said, that a baby was going to put things in their mouths. Like, you better be careful, especially when they get to that age.
The walking and touching everything.
So when my son was growing, I was like, oh, my God, I must be lucky.
You got, like, the best kid in the world.
He doesn't put a penny in his mouth.
That's awesome.
But at the end of the day,
it really wasn't.
He couldn't see it to put it in his mouth. So the things that we think that are probably us lucking out, that's a normal kid thing, those are probably the times when we should pay attention to the signs. And not just one thing. It has to be like a repeated, like this and that. Let's not overstress our kids.
Definitely not. But when Jeremiah had the first heart surgery last year, he had a band put on to make his left ventricle strong enough for this surgery that he had this year. And he developed what's called cardiac heart block. I've noticed that his lips were turning purple. Kid wasn't, like, breathing right. So we went to the doctor, and I brought it to her attention, and she did the echoes. He looked great. The echoes looked good. But when she put a halter on him overnight, and, like, when he was sleeping and stuff,
when they saw it.
That's when she noticed that he had the heart block, because she was actually letting him go back to school.
Wow.
And then she came back. She was like, Jessica, don't let him go back to school. He can't go back to school.
Wow.
So last year he was out. He was out for
really,
the whole school year.
Really counts.
It really is.
So as, like, we take everything that we've experienced, you're experiencing right now, I'm experiencing right now, I think it's important to just speak to the audience and make them aware on how many different kind of situations we're all dealing with. I don't think that it's easy for any one parent to deal with anything.
No, definitely not.
I feel like we've all been dealing with this on our own, because we don't realize that you're going through it and I'm going through it. And
like I said, I just realized that your son, as you were telling everybody, I was learning this as the first time as well. And we were talking about it before, and I said before, my daughter had the dinner dance, and she has a friend from kindergarten. He's autistic, and my daughter sold enough candy and stuff throughout middle school to pay for a bid for him as well, and a few other people, and herself. We paid for everything, their school trip, their T-shirts, their graduation books,
Oh, that's
everything. So
awesome.
my daughter was dancing with him, and the special ed teacher just so happened to be also an athlete. She had a tournament, so the teachers were videotaping, and she made it later on, and she was saying how excited she was to see the kid smiling and happy. And then there's a video of my daughter, the kid, and another kid that they would never interact with each other had my daughter not been
On a
there.
daily.
And I
Yeah.
try to explain to my daughter, like, there was a kid that made fun of her. She was dancing with the boy, and they were like, "Oh, I wanted to dance with you, but I see you're with your boyfriend." And she's like, "That's not my boyfriend. He could be my friend." And me, I'm very smart mouth. I have no filter. I told her, I said, "Well, next time somebody sits there and says that, I said, you need to tell them that special children need friends too, and they
Yeah.
need friends because assholes like you." You can bleep that out if you want, but it's the truth. There's kids that bully special children, which is a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
But special children need that friendship.
Yeah.
Like,
Everyone
the kid
needs it.
loves the fact that Brianna went and danced with him. He didn't dance with nobody else but my daughter.
Yeah.
And he had the smile from ear to ear. And me as a parent, I was joyed because, my daughter doesn't see color. She doesn't see she don't see none of that. I don't know, maybe because of my daughter is half black and half white, and her brother's going through everything, so maybe she
I think it's because you didn't teach them.
No, definitely not.
I think that's where it stems from.
I don't care if you're purple, green, black,
You
white,
showed her
orange,
absolutely
polka dotted.
nothing but
We grew up together, so we kick it from way back. I've
strangely
always
we've
been
very it's very hard for us to veer from ourselves.
Yeah. I would love my kids. I feel that the world should be that way, but obviously it's not. But I also let my kids know too about the bads of racism too and bullying. But like I said, going off topic, I rather my daughter have that kid know that she's there for him.
Yeah.
Because to him, that means 20 times a million more than it would to me, you, or anybody else. Because he doesn't really have those type of friends.
Yeah.
So
I think it does. It does mean the world to us, but we have this filter that we're not allowed to show the excitement. And it's like, God forbid you give someone more than what you're supposed to.
Exactly. Like, when that kid said that to my daughter, I was like floored. Like, how could you even say that? Like, okay. Yeah, I know how kids are. So I get it, and I told her she was, they were just teasing her.
I think it's also because of the education. Like, I honestly do not believe that the kids that are growing up in the elementary schools and high schools and the middle
100%.
schools, I don't think that they're paying attention to the studies that we're talking about. Like the notes that I have here.
Like, honestly,
is
my
off.
feeling is a lot of parents don't pay attention to their children anymore. Like, back in the day,
They don't have time.
No, yeah, back
They
in
don't
the
have
day,
time.
Mom was home.
Yeah.
And Dad would work. We didn't have internet. If we wanted to play, we all had to ride our bicycles to our friend's house. And we all had to get along and talk. Now you got social media, so you can get not bullied in school, but in social media. So if you got bullied at school, at least you had the outlet to go home.
You get ghost bullied.
Yeah, now it's horrible. And honestly, I'm a teen mom, so you could take this the wrong way, but I feel like there was a lot of children having children.
Yeah.
So you have a young child raising another child that doesn't really figure out what was going on from the jump. And now with all these children having all these disabilities, it just makes the world a little harder for those children.
Yeah. The studies, autism was 1 in 166 kids in 2004.
Crazy.
So for it to be, it jumped from the last study because they do the study every 4 years.
That's crazy.
Right? So it's jumped from 2014, it's increased to 1 in 59 kids.
That means more children now are having autism than 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Exactly. And ADHD.
Oh, that's huge too. I know people that have it.
It says the stat says 2015 stat says more than 6 million kids have ADHD. The percentages have gone up 43% between 2003 and 2011, which is amazing because my son was born in 2003.
My daughter was born in 2003 too. Oh, we were pregnant at the same time?
Sugar.
Didn't even realize it.
We were busy having kids.
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know. I think Carteret was all busy having kids at the same time.
I really do. I think so.
And all of our kids are coming out of their childish phase, and we're all like, "Wait a minute, you're still here?
Like,
yeah,
why
I've been having
aren't you?
kids. How many kids do you have? I have 3. How many do you have? Oh my gosh!"
But like a lot of our friends now are just having kids, and I'm like, I've been there, done that. My kids
Right.
are older.
Let me know if you need a babysitter.
Not.
No, not me be the babysitter.
Oh,
our
yeah.
kids are old enough.
I know. Brianna's
We
getting
can
a
put
job
these
this
kids to
summer.
Work. Yes, put these kids to work. Yes.
Literally, she's getting a job.
Yes.
And she's working for a daycare.
Yes. Good.
So, and
good.
we have a lot of children off the spectrum that gravitates to my daughter all the time. So I was telling her she should be a special ed teacher because
Yeah.
she just has that compassion for children that just, my daughter's awesome. So I could talk about her all day.
I mean, that's good. I think it's amazing that we definitely can come across people that are included in their kids' life. They engage in their kids' life, because a lot of people think that I just gotta feed them, house them, and keep them.
Not a dog. Sorry.
Which is true, because I tell this to my kids all the time. My sole job, as per government,
Yeah, she right.
feed them, keep them alive, and keep them clothed.
Until they're 18, they can go get
Until they're 18, unless they want to be emancipated at 16. I can get some papers if you want.
I didn't tell Brianna all that. No, my daughter's
Like, listen, you're not going anywhere.
I'm not
But but yeah, definitely. Like, I try to talk to my kids and tell them those things, because they need to understand that even though you have whatever disability you have in life, you still have to prepare. You still have to get ready. There's still going to be a moment where you have to go and be the adult that we have to be now.
Yeah, and like with JJ, I'm afraid, he has a pacer. He can't, like, somebody can't bump into him. They can't hit him. Like, my worst fear is him getting into a fight in school.
Exactly.
Because, kids can run their mouth.
Like
I'm afraid of all that.
You said he's 9?
He'll be 9 next month.
9.
So I mean, a lot of the kids
understand
he has a special heart. And with Nathan Hale, we do Heart Month in February. Mm-hmm. And JJ's like big, huge superhero. So everybody knows that about Jeremiah, because we do the American Heart Association jump rope for kids.
So it's done in January.
It's done in February, because February is Heart Month.
February. Okay.
So they do.
February is Heart Month, guys.
Definitely is. I was born in February too, so it's a great month. And
check out how you can volunteer, give back.
Definitely, when the kids are doing the jump rope, even if it's $1, it works. It goes to children and families. I'm grateful that I didn't have to use their services, but if something was to come majorly that I did need their services, they're there for me and my family.
Yeah, you can partake.
And I had a representative tell us, personally, that when Jeremiah had the heart surgery, if there was anything that American Heart Association could do, just let her know. I mean, locally, everybody, the mayor, has helped when Jeremiah had his heart surgery. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome to know that there's people that are reaching out, people that are aware.
And, with social media, it's great because when Jeremiah had his heart surgery in January, at the Ronald McDonald House, it's a house that you can stay at for a very low price for a family that has their kids having a procedure. But you got to find out the day of if you get in or not. So the day of my son's heart surgery, they tell me that we can't find a place.
It's harsh.
But we can't stay there.
It's harsh.
But we can stay at the Sheraton at their rate of $120 a night.
Really?
Yes.
Because we needed you to tell me that.
Yeah, $120 a night. So, thank God for social media, family, friends from high school.
Yes.
I've had people from overseas, from my father, networking, that actually helped us stay for a few nights in the hotel while Jeremiah was having his double switch and his pacemaker placed in. So, I mean,
that goes to show that you don't have to do it alone.
No, exactly.
You don't have to be quiet.
As long as you open up and you
sincere,
ask. You have to ask
right?
for help.
Always be sincere. Always been sincere.
Definitely.
Always be considerate. And always be considerate of yourself.
And others. Definitely.
Yes.
Others.
Because if you don't ask ahead of time, when you really need it, you might be so stressed that you might not even be able to appreciate it the way that you could.
You know what? You can miss the blessing.
Exactly.
For being negative.
Exactly.
And it's not just a blessing for you, but it's a blessing for your children.
Yeah.
You know, I was able to stay there with him and be there by his side and, you know, crush his ice pop and give it to him because he can't move.
Yes.
You know, be that cheerleader on the side when he finally went pee-pee and poopy for the first time after surgery. You know, that stuff like that might not be exciting for you, but when they're going through all that stuff, like, you get so excited.
Yeah. And that's why, that kind of brings me to, you know, to the gist of this episode and where we're going to bring it for the month, because at this point we have to understand that we have to fix why these things are happening, and at the same time we have to make it the most best experience for the kids that aren't measuring up to where we think that they should measure up.
Definitely.
Because we always have to remember that we're made with our best selves, and unfortunately sometimes there's things that hurdle us and that it shouldn't happen, you know, so we have to learn how to look into those matters. So at the same time, I want you to think about consciously, where are these illnesses coming from? You know, are they chronic illnesses? Are they genetic illnesses?
Yeah,
are they prenatal illnesses? I think 100% prenatal care is not just going to the doctor and getting those, you know, vitamins.
Yeah, take those every day.
It's about being aware of yourself.
Definitely.
Knowing if you want to get pregnant and when you want to get pregnant and what you're ingesting and what you have around you. You have 9 months
to take care of
that. To nurture this baby. How am I nurturing this baby? Where am I going to bring it? We're going to touch on those topics because nourishment is
key.
It's key.
Definitely.
And it's, you know, malnutrition is on that level of chronic illness. It's not prenatal care. It's not genetic. It's chronic illness. So it's something that could happen during conception, during the pregnancy, after conception. If we don't understand where it's coming from, we'll never know how to fix it. And at the same time, while we're trying to fix it, we still have to pay attention to the children that we didn't know we were going to give them these kind of conditions. And we have to make them live their best life on the level that was given to them.
Like,
you know, it's
if
no
you see my son, you would never know he had heart surgery. You would never know that he had all those issues before he had heart surgery. He was a bouncing baby boy all over the place. And, you know, and I never sheltered him from it, but I did explain it to him when he was old enough. But if you've seen him on the street, you wouldn't know.
And that's where we need to teach everyone to get that. Even the people that are not used to seeing a handicapped child or a kid that seems to look like they're not as
you don't have to have a physical disability to be handicapped.
You don't need to be scared of them. You don't need to be shy of them. You actually need to treat them just as normally as anyone else. No one's saying to tell them, like, let's skip to the loo if they can't skip to the loo. But, hello, how are you doing? How was your day? Just because they may not be able to respond how you want or look at you how they want doesn't mean that they're not feeling it.
Exactly.
They're not feeling it. They're not ingesting it. And I definitely feel like just showing how to interact, you know, hopefully that we can get something where I can get a teacher involved and show the teachers how to interact with these kids, because
that'd be great.
Our kids go to school every day and we're expecting that these teachers are doing what they need to do to interact with our kids, but every kid kind of has a specific learning technique, and we got to understand what tier they belong in.
And in nowadays, too, it's not like how it was back in the day. There's like 30 kids to one teacher and an aide. when we went to school, we were lucky we had 15 kids in our class, if that. So that gives the teacher a chance to really pick out. I mean, don't get me wrong.
When we went to school, we were lucky to have an 8 in our class.
If we were lucky.
And we talked about, did you talk about it? I talked about,
yeah.
You have an 8 in your class?
That's because we would have a special child that would need it. But we never had really aides. And
it's funny that we say that because I don't know if kids say that now because my kids always have an 8 in their class.
Well, now I think it's like a norm to have an aide to help the teacher because the classes are so big.
But is that being explained to the other kids why there's an 8 in another class?
I don't think so.
Because it wasn't.
I think it's a normal note if you really think about it.
It wasn't explained to me now that I think about it.
Never explained to me now that I think about it either.
Now I swear there's not enough information given to us.
It really is. No.
That's just a freak of me right now.
I never really thought about it until I was talking about it. And here I'm talking about it. We didn't have aides back in the day.
Yes.
Unless, we did have a child that did need help. But when I was pregnant with my son, I was put on bed rest, and I was given a handicap placard because I couldn't walk too far because I was in a very high-risk pregnancy.
Was I bad to make sure I got one?
Girl, you can get one because you're pregnant. Your last 3 months
warrants you
by law, you can get a temporary disability placard. Just to let you know.
Yep.
Anyways,
6 months.
So I had a temporary disability placard, but I had it because of me being on bed rest.
It's not easy being pregnant.
Definitely not. And I parked into a parking spot, and I had a lady curse me out. Because I'm fat and pregnant, that's not a disability.
Oh.
Now, mind you, I'm carrying a child that has his lower chambers of his heart backwards. Don't know if the kid's going to come out and can breathe on his own. Don't know if he's going to have open heart surgery right away. Don't know if he's even going to make it for a minute. So here she's cursing and yelling at me, and I'm crying. I thank God there was this one guy that walked by. He was like, why are you yelling at her? Why are you picking on her? She's not disabled. He goes, you don't know what's going on with her. You don't, just because she physically doesn't look disabled, mentally she could be disabled. She's pregnant. You're making her more emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a cop that, my husband works for the police department, so it was a cop that already knew my situation.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to my aid because he knew the situation. But
that's interesting that you say that, though, because that's kind of what our kids are dealing with.
Exactly.
Because your kid is dealing with an internal disability.
Exactly.
My kids deal with internal disabilities.
You can't see it if you look at them.
I would have never known. And that's the argument that I have with my kids' school because they complain all the time. This is my second child I'm talking about now. They complain all the time that he's unable to follow rules and that they've had him for years. They've been teaching him and they try to guide him. And I simply said to them, if I had a kid that was in a wheelchair and they came to school every day, you wouldn't be asking them to walk every day now, would you? Just because you see legs?
That's right.
So it's just simply about taking a step back.
And looking at the kid's shoes.
And think about it. If you have to question a child's act, you have to question their mentality.
Or even as a parent, maybe we couldn't see it, but you as an educator might notice because you're with our child more than we are sometimes. Mm-hmm. So maybe you do notice that, hey, Zachary doesn't really concept that this is going on. Mm-hmm. Maybe you really do need to take him to get checked. Mm-hmm. Because you may notice it more than us. Like I said, they're with teachers sometimes more than they are with us because we work full-time.
Yeah. I only get complaints from teachers, and they want you to fix it.
I can't say that because my son's teacher, I went to school with her, and she's amazing. I knew when.
Shout her out.
Oh, Miss Silva, of course. Nikki is awesome.
Miss Silva.
She is the greatest teacher. One of the greatest teachers. She was born to be a teacher. She's gentle, sweet, honest.
Miss Silva, you want to be on our show?
She honestly is. She was meant to be a teacher, and she could show a lot of teachers how to handle a disability child. Because she handles JJ a lot, and JJ's a handful. Right. Because he knows that he
Bless
has this.
Your heart, Miss Silva.
He knows that he can play that card. That my chest hurts.
Yeah.
But she knows when he playing.
She was a side eye.
Definitely. Miss McGregor was his homeschool teacher. awesome teacher as well. Right now she's in the high school. She's a special ed teacher. You have to have this special like love
Care.
for children and
consideration.
Like my dog is a rescue dog, and I had somebody tell me that he loved my son's teacher too. He loved her like instantly. And I had a medium tell me that my dog knew that she was nothing but love and light, and that she was great, and that's why he was always perfect with her. And I just got this dog. He wasn't even perfect with me. So to see that
Can you find me a dog?
Sure. You know, animal rescue is my thing.
We're gonna come back to that.
Yeah, we got
you. It's all about the animals. We can come back to that.
Yeah, they're awesome. I love my fur child. Shout out to Rhodey.
Okay, so now I would just like to take the moment to say thank you to everyone that has taken the time to listen. Everything that I would like to share with you guys, I want to make sure that you guys are getting what you want to hear. So please do not forget to like, subscribe, comment, check us out on Facebook, Instagram. If you really want to talk about a topic, email us tsforumpod@gmail.com. I'm going to give our girl Jessica a chance to say her byes.
So before we say goodbye, you know, I was saying how I had a lot of people help us. I wanted to say a special thank you to New Jersey Paranormal. They had an expo maybe 2 weeks ago and made Jeremiah a VIP so he can meet his favorite celebrity medium, Amy Allen. He also got to meet Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Hunters, and everybody signed a great hat for him. And I just wanted to say thank you to Chris and John for giving him that experience, because it meant a lot to him. He had a phenomenal day. I want to thank everybody that, like I told you before, that donated to us staying in the hotel while he had his surgery, and everybody that's been praying for him. And I want to thank you for having me here so I could talk about my son.
No problem.
And
thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's courageous, because I would like to tell you that it's not easy.
And I want to thank you for letting me meet your son, who's here. So I would love for him to come and say hi to everybody.
Hopefully, you know. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. My oldest, guys. Check him out. He's a little nervous.
Camera shy. But like the podcast.
That's right.
Click
Check
subscribe, the notifications.
Hit that notification
Instagram,
button.
Facebook.
Uh-oh,
he came back.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. What you doing with your life?
Oh, what he said. Definitely what he said.
Definitely YouTuber.
Bye.
To life, yes.